Good to see you. Can I have your attention, please? If I could have people take a seat where you stand, it doesn't matter. It's a pretty informal day, and I gotta have notes. I've got it over. For those that don't know me, I'm Dennis. I'm Russell's oldest brother, and Deb had asked me to kind of moderate today's celebration of life. And for those who have never participated in a celebration of life, it basically is us getting together. What Russ liked to do is have a lot of people together, his friends and family, co-workers, anybody that was willing to come to his house, they were welcome. And Russ would always cook and would spend days sometimes cooking outrageous meals, and his pleasure was seeing the smiles on your face. And yesterday, Judy was putting together a pictorial on the computer, and one thing we noticed, you're not going to find many pictures of my brother Russ without a smile on his face. And I don't care what it was. There's a picture of him there. Courtney took him fishing, and he has a little bass. He's probably only about, what? He's illegal, put it that way. Bass was so illegal that I would have never taken a picture of it. But he's got this huge smile because fishing meant that much to him. But also, fishing was just not his only passion. His passion is in this room amongst all of you. Obviously, his number one passion was his family, his wife, and his daughter, Courtney. And then it filtered down when he had the time, which happened to be a lot. My brother had the hugest heart. And as you could look around, for the people that were able to attend today, it's a difficult day on the first of the year. I'm sure a few people might be fighting the hangover, and some aren't. But I'll guarantee you, he was happy that you all could be here today. And if he could be here, he'd stand up here. He would have been at that door, been the first person to hug you. And we all know that. Okay. So let me get on with what I had written down. And what was to kind of identify what the celebration of life was again for us to come together. I'm going to open the mic at some point at the end of what I have to say, and the mic will be open. The podium will be here, where you can sit at your own chair, stand up. But if you have any kind of testaments or anything you'd like to add that was part of your life that you shared with Russell, and if it made it better, maybe it made it worse. I don't know. Right, Mike? Yeah. I mean, we used to come out here and drink a lot, isn't that right? This is one of Russell's favorite golf courses. It's the only course he ever got a hole-in-one in on number 7. He loved this course. And I was telling a story earlier about when he got his hole-in-one. There's a picture of that darn ball in this pictorial. But he was so proud of it, he called me at home that night and was bragging about this. I think it was 186 yards. I think he hit, I don't know, 5-iron, drained it for his first hole-in-one ever, and he told me, Danny, I got my first hole-in-one. And I go, you sucker. I've never had one. I've only been 2 or 3 inches close. And I said, well, I know you scored well. I think I scored 86. I go, 86, Russell, you fell apart. He says, I was so happy. It didn't matter anymore when I scored. I said, I guess that's the value of a hole-in-one, but I hate to see your bar bill later. So, let me check my notes here. I wanted to give a little snapshot history of my brother. And it's pretty hard to condense 56 years of life sharing with my brother and trying to give a snapshot of him. It's almost unfair, but based on time, and I could talk all day. I could talk all day. We don't have to eat. You know, but a short history on him. I'll try to be briefly. Russell Dean Fujita was born in 1955. He was born in Watsonville, California. And his parents were second-generation Japanese Nisei. Tadao and Eiko Fujita. His father was born in Watsonville and his mother born in Monterey, California. Russ was the fifth of 6 children. He was also the 3rd son out of 4. The way it turned out, Russell was right in the middle of 2 girls. And let me take that back. Russell was actually, our oldest brother passed away during the relocation, right after the relocation World War II. So Russell was really became the 2nd son in the family. Russell's attended local schools in Freedom, California. Graduated from Watsonville High School in 1973. He did attend Cabrillo College and then realized college was not his gig. Russell was working at the time at a little mom and pop store called Ken's Market. And he started to apply his trade there, started working in the retail grocery business, and it all started at Ken's Market. He probably made $1.50 an hour back then. But he loved it. And after high school, in between college, he started working, I believe, at Albertson stores. And as a result, he started working in Watsonville, Santa Cruz, I think San Jose, different stores. We started moving him around. Eventually, Russell met the love of his life, Deborah Martin from Santa Cruz. Deborah and my brother Russ were married in 1978. Were married for 33 years. Happily married for 33 years. They had 1 daughter, Courtney, was born in Cupertino. Cupertino, what a great place to be born. And it's memorable, right? Cupertino. So, but I remember the Cupertino home and swimming and all that. But Courtney was born 1983. Okay, she's getting up there in age. Not so young anymore. Russ and Deb were married at the family home, Deborah's family home on Pasatiempo Golf Course. So you see there's this trend of golf that crosses my brother's life, and it started as a result of the Martins. He never knew what a golf club was except to maybe hit rocks at the dogs or something when we were kids. And we beat up our friend's father's nice forest blades, hit them in the sand and hit dirt clods with them. But his father-in-law tried to get him in golf. He was involved in the professional golf business. And eventually Russell did take up the game and became an avid golfer, would sneak out on Pasatiempo 10. He'd brag to me, oh, I'm on Pasatiempo every day if I want to be, you know. Back then, I think it was, I don't know, I'm going to say it was $75 green fees. Now they're $250, so it kind of puts it in perspective. So, but he loved golf, and as a result, my father was passing away. He had kidney failure, and him and I were watching him, and we were so stressed, and Russ would say, I know how to get rid of the stress. Let's go hit some darn golf balls. And I said, okay. So he bought me a cheap set at a yard sale. He loved going to yard sales. And it was an old Wilson set, and him and I started beating golf balls at the range. And from that day, him and I became tied at the hip when it came to golf. And we played hundreds of rounds over the years. Hundreds. So many I can't remember. In fact, driving up here, I go, he played at that course, that course. I'd meet him here. He worked in Sacramento. I'd meet him in Stockton. We played in Stockton. It didn't matter. We played in Watsonville. It didn't matter where it was. We would play. We always took our clubs. For whatever reason, Russell moved to Kerrville, Texas in the what year? Do you remember, Courtney? 1984. I think he was, I'm not sure why he wanted to become a Texan, but he did move to Texas. And he stayed there for a short period of time. But what I remember about him when he came back from Texas, he called me Hoss. I used to be his brother, Denny, and now, hey, Hoss. I go, okay, well, I wonder how long this is going to last, Hoss. So I was Hoss. And it took a while for that to go away. But I think he kind of loved it, and he told me everything is big in Texas. Everything, including the scorpions and the bugs and everything. But he actually enjoyed to stay in Texas. The family did move back to the Bay Area, and Russell, I think, moved in 1987 into Sacramento. Finally found a place he wanted to land his family and really set down roots. Russell came to work in Sacramento, was given an opportunity to open up with Earl, family friend, Fan Fever. Fan Fever sold sports memorabilia, you know, the starter type jackets, you know, the regular fan type of shop. And he managed and operated, I believe it was 7 stores for a few years, and eventually they franchised it out to, basically sold it to the San Francisco Giants. And as a result, he was looking for a new job. The new job manifested into what his most favorite job he ever had, and that was working for Trader Joe's. Russ loved working for Trader Joe's. He loved the concept of if you worked hard, you're going to move up in the company. And you know, if you proved yourself, you will become that captain. You will lead the stores. And what he liked most is he could develop friendships and a team of the people he worked with, and he loved working in that type of setting. And he loved it till the time he was diagnosed with his cancer, and he decided at that point it was time now to retire. Russell was put on a time clock from UC Davis and was given X amount of years that he would survive, and he was going to maximize his time. Never was he down, trust me. I assure you, yes, he had his quiet, crying moments, but he was never down. The man, as I said, always had a smile on his face. And I assure you, the moment he passed, internally that smile was still there. It was never gone. During his last 2 years of Russell's life, of course, many of us didn't see him, but he did see family and his closest friends from Trader Joe's. And what he did during that time is they were filled with a lot of things, trust me. First of all, his family was foremost. And he focused on spending time with his wife, his daughter, his sister Patty, with me. And he made himself so available and wanted to do so much with us. And it didn't matter what it was. It was even a picnic, a barbecue, or Patty take him to his favorite location in all of Sacramento, which became Red Hawk Casino. There's a chair that's indented where he sat. And I assure you, it's a penny machine, and he loved that darn penny machine that I think every pull was like $5. It was not no penny machine, but he loved playing that darn machine. He also had a passion for fishing. And the fishing started, and you'll see some pictures of him they're pictures from Christmas, and he's holding fly rods and a gun. That kid was dangerous. He carried that fly rod, you didn't know where that line was going to go. He practiced on the front yard and had it whipping that fly around, just missed your head. And the BB guns, he liked to go shoot things, and he liked to fish. And growing up, I assure you, he fished every day. And I'm not kidding. It was every day. And he'd come home with unusual fish. I don't even know where he got some of these things. He'd sneak on people's farms, jump the fence, go fish their ponds. He'd get caught. He used to jump a fence somewhere here in Sacramento as an adult to go fishing on a golf course pond. And he'd send me little pictures. Look at the bass I got. And he always turned them loose. He carried a rod in his bag when he played here at Cherry Island. He'd fish some of the ponds here and caught fish.
Not too loud, they're going to kick us out.
Huh? You went with him, Jeffrey?
Don't say that too loud, they're going to kick us out of here.
Oh, okay. Anybody bring their fishing poles today? Okay. Russ, obviously, his first passion was to spend time with family. He loved to be with people. He loved to help people. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in this room that I can attest to that Russell stepped up and helped you in some manner. Again, he loved fishing. Did you know he loved tennis? Russell played tennis for over 10 to 12 years. Him and I took tennis about the same time. And for whatever reason, our lives paralleled when it came to activities. But we took up tennis at the same time, and he was a two-fisted, backhanded Bjorn Borg wannabe. Look at some of the hairstyles with the mullet and all that going. He had the look and he had the game to play. He was a great tennis player, and both of us should have never gave it up. But we got old and started playing golf. The other passion he developed, and he always had this passion, but it started in my family and my mom. But he loved to cook. And sometimes Cookie may be just heating up something and put some on the table just to see you smile. But at the end, he was starting to try to learn to cook Japanese style, cooking a lot of the Japanese type of foods. But one thing he did is like the social aspect of just sitting at the burners and having his pots and pans and cooking things. And if it came out okay, no big deal. But it was the social setting, spending time talking to me, to Patty, to whoever, his wife, but spending that time, it was so important. And the cooking created a social event for him that he could spend time and knew at the end of his cooking, he was going to provide you with something good to eat, hopefully. And he did. In fact, the last meal he cooked me was a miso soup. It was excellent. In fact, I took his recipe and I've been cooking it for my wife Judy for over the last couple of months. But it's the last meal he cooked for me, and it was excellent. Also, I had a passion for music. My gosh, I think he fell asleep many a night with the iPod stuck in his ear. I mean, he did that for years. Isn't that right, Courtney? He just loved any genre of music. And he would start dancing, and he would start singing. And as you know, he was half crazy, maybe 3/4 crazy. But he always had that smile on his face. See? It's always there. He loved movies, and the last thing he loved most were his dogs, Ella, Emma, and I will not forget about Lucky. And if you knew Lucky, your leg knew Lucky. Lucky was a leg hugger. And Russell, in all the years, could not stop Lucky from doing that. Lucky was lucky. Lucky got lucky all the time. But I'll never forget Lucky. And the love of his life are his dogs. And they were with him to the moment he passed away. They stayed with him during hospice the whole time. They were loving dogs, and I can understand why he loved those dogs. I'd like to end my little short talk here, and I'd like to thank you, provide thank you to all those who visited. We have sent well wishes and provide condolences, flowers, and food to the family during the most difficult time. And that's including the last 2 years since Russell was diagnosed. A lot of friends and family have visited and spent time, took time out of their lives to make sure Russell knew that he was still part of, they were still part of his life. And he appreciated it. Trust me, he appreciated it. The family also like to take time to thank Trader Joe's for providing many of the food items that are on today's menu, to Magpies for providing some of the food that's on today's menu, plus to Brooke for taking lead on the food service side so we can have a great meal, which Russ would have loved today. Thank you, Brooke. I'd also like to thank my cousin Jeffrey Goda for providing pastries. And I know he came in yesterday and was dropping them off. Jeffrey's been there every day for my brother, always has been. I'm going to say I know he's your favorite cousin. And to be honest, Russell spent a lot of summers fishing with you for sand dabs on the pier in Monterey. And he loved to catch those 100 sand dabs whenever you guys went, or go out on the boats out in Monterey Bay with you and just hang out. He loved going to Monterey. He loved spending time with Sharon and your family. He loved it. I'd like to thank my wife also for working on the pictorial. She spent a lot of hours on that. Thank you, Judy. And I'd like to end and to say, may God bless my brother Russell. I know he's happy, he's smiling, and he's a happy individual. And I'd like to say, God bless you all. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Denny. We couldn't have done it without each other. I couldn't have done it without Denny. You know, sometimes it takes, this is what it takes for a family to come together, and the time we got to spend together has been very precious to me, to get to know Denny and Judy better, and just, it's sad that this has to happen, but the joy it's brought me into getting to know Russell's family better, and going through the pictures last night. And Judy, thank you so much. Like I said, I wanted to do this. I had this picture in my head that I wanted to put together this spectacular video, and here it is, the day before the event, and she stands up and says, let me do that. And I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the gift is that it's so wonderful that people step in and do things. It's exactly the lesson that I learned is to say, yes, thank you. So I thank you all for being here. We got to grow up together. We were babies, and we had a lot of similarities. Neither one of us really knew what we wanted to do when we grew up, Me as a child, I don't know, I wasn't like the kid that grew up and said I wanted to get up and get married and I wanted 3.2 children. I wanted to be this or that and wanted to live here or there. I was like, what's next? I didn't have any plans. And I remember before we got married when Russell asked me, and I'm like, well, I don't really have anything to do, so sure. I remember telling the manager at my store, I said, well, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure about this whole marriage thing. She goes, well, you can always divorce him. I said, okay, yeah, why not? And it's been a journey of just keeping an open heart and an open mind, and that's worked for us. We go through the hard times, the good times, and we did it together, and it was more of just doing it. We didn't, when it got hard, sometimes we would just let it be hard. We didn't have to fix it, and things just seemed to work itself out. That's no major plan. That didn't take going to Stanford or I'm just glad that we had that time together, and I miss him very much. He's a great gift. The greatest gift that we had together is our daughter Courtney. I know. He was such a good dad. He was such a good dad that it made me think that, well, if he's going to do everything, fine. I'll just let him. So I basically went back to work, and he was a great dad. We shared things. So we never missed a field trip because we worked separate shifts. We all went on field trips, and Courtney could probably attest to all those things. We got to be there with her, and I think that's a good gift.
That's how we looked.
Oh yeah, when I met him, I wasn't quite sure what his nationality was. But I thought he was really cute. He wore a cashmere sweater and jeans, and he drove this little blue Triumph Spitfire with a top-down thing. I don't have good words right now. Yeah.
His hair blown like.
That's right. And he told me it took 3 hours at the beauty parlor to perm his hair.
It's so true.
I know. He did have the cojones to do that. And so, I like that. Okay, so I met him at 2 o'clock in the morning. Our friends set us up. It was like a Memorial Day party. And I don't know what I looked like at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I probably wasn't sober. But I remember what I wore. It was one of those Marilyn Monroe dresses, with a halter dress. And but he kept his word. That's what I knew. He didn't call me for 2 weeks. And I thought, and he finally called me, and he asked me out on a date, and we went bowling, played pool, miniature golf. We might have went to the movies.
Did he ask you what you wanted to do?
No, but when he took me home, he said, well, I won every single game we played. Doesn't that deserve a kiss? And I said, no. Good night. And it took a little while for him to call me back again, but he said, hey, I want to take you on a special date. So I think the next date was, we went to Hearst Castle, and which was a great date. So what I liked about him is that He not only said it was going to be a good date, but he followed through with it, and it was very special. His sister helped him, so he borrowed his sister's car. He had the best of bread tape. He had a full tray of cheese and crackers. He had 2 packs of my favorite cigarettes, Parliaments. I think he had a bottle of wine. And we drove down to Hearst Castle, took the tour, went back to Monterey, to Cannery Row, and we closed the restaurant. We were the only ones left in the restaurant, and they were cleaning the floors around us, and they had to kick us out, but I fell in love with him that night. And he proposed to me in the shower. And I pretended like I didn't hear him. And I think it took another few months for him to ask me again. So from there to 33 years later, my birthday was November 2nd. I really thought that his cancer was in remission and it was going to stay that way because every scan he had said there was no change. So I thought basically he would live and just be disabled. He'd lost his vision, but you know, I'd come to accept that. So on my birthday, he asked Courtney to take him to the mall, and he bought me a beautiful purse. He did a really good job. Beautiful purse and 4 calendars. One was Dilbert. I love Dilbert. It's really true. Working for corporations, they have really stupid rules, especially about cubicles. And the other 3 calendars were dog calendars. Jack Russell Terrier dog calendars. And, thank you. He really, really wanted another dog. And as Denny said, we already had 2 dogs. And this has been a very difficult year for me. And I had to say, are you fucking kidding me? There is no way we're gonna get another dog. I don't care how many calendars you buy me for my birthday. Ha ha ha. Thank you. Thank you very much. And, oh God, he's so beautiful. People used to always tell me, your husband is so gorgeous. And I say, am I chopped liver? What? Come on. Anyway, and then right after my birthday, he got really sick really fast, and like 2.5 weeks later, 3 weeks later, he's gone. So our 2 dogs did stay on the bed with him the whole time. In fact, Ella bit somebody. I don't remember who she bit, so if you were here and she bit you, I'm sorry. But the day after he died, she was injured, her back hurt, and so I took her to a vet. And when we were at the vet, I didn't have a really good attitude, but the technician there, Sarah, she comes in and she goes, Deborah, I know this is a really difficult time for you. You know, a lot is going on, but I know you're a really good dog mama. And we found this dog in the parking lot, and it took us 2 days to catch him. And I'm like, talk to me? But this is a great dog, Deb. It's really a great dog. And I'm like, and I really would love to keep this dog. I love this dog, Deb, but I have 7 dogs. But there's no way I'm gonna take this dog to the shelter. And she goes, here, see, this is his picture. And I'm like, that dog's kind of ugly. And she goes, oh no, but he's got the greatest personality. I said, oh, well, okay, text me the picture, fine. So my dog gets done with her acupuncture, and I go home, and yeah, my dog gets acupuncture. I know, Emily told me about it. So I go home, and Patty's there, and Courtney's there, and I'm like, well, when I was at the vet, and the picture, and they go, well, let me see it. And she goes, they would both go, can we go see it now? Can we go see it now? Can we go see this dog right now? And I'm like, no, I'm tired. Your dad died and my husband died. I'm hungry. No. And so I called Sarah, can we come see your dog at your house now? No, you can't come to the house, but I'll meet you at the office. I don't want to. Okay. So we go to the office, and I'm like, where's this stupid dog? And well, they're in that exam room over there. So we go into the exam room. This is how my brain remembers it. So don't tell me I'm saying it wrong because my brain remembers it. But this is how I remember it, is we walk into the room, and this dog jumps into my arms. He's 5.5 pounds. He kind of looks like Libby. Where's Libby? Pick up Libby. Stand up. Pick her up. Except for he's not as cute, and he's black and white and brown, and he's got a much uglier face. And I swear he's got Velcro on him because he just kind of jumps up and he sticks to me. And so we have a dog now, 5.5 pounds, and he sticks to me. And he also thinks he owns everything. He runs around and he goes, mine! Mine! Even after we had his little cotton balls removed. So in other words, he either has to be in my arms or in the kennel or on the end of a leash. And yesterday, my cousin Deb made me a, what do we call that? A puppy sarong. Out of Russell's sarong. He bought a sarong. And so she tied it around my neck, and we walked around all day with him. Sarong. And it worked really good, actually. So, and his name is Mochi. Mochi. Pounded rice. I don't know if that's it, but pounded rice. Mochi Rusco. So we go, Mochi. Where'd Russ go? Mochi. Where'd Russ go? And he's really lifted my spirits. He really loves me more than anyone else, which is really great. And so we went to have coffee the other day, Mochi and Misty, my sister's dog who loves me. And we went out to Pete's Coffee, and we're sitting outside, and all of a sudden I hear Mochi going, "Arr." I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, "Arr." There's nobody there. Arr. And I look in, because we're outside, and in the window is this cute little lady going, hi. Hi. Oh, cute little dog. Hi. And going, so I really like that. So I have hope, because I know Russ sent me that dog, because I went through those calendars, and there's a picture in there that looks exactly like him. So he got his dog. And also this last year I've become very attached to birds. When I see one in a store, a little bird statue, I want to buy it. And so I asked him to send me birds too. And I've seen a few, and I just choose to think that those are mine too. So I'm very lucky, because Russell did love people dearly, and I feel his presence, and I have faith, and you know, life goes on. And I'm very happy you all came today, because we get to grow up a little bit more and learn a little bit more and eat a little bit more. He'll be happy that there's lots of food. He never ever could cook for less than, I'd say, at least 6. There was only 2 of us in the house. He did have a little bit of OCD, so I have to share a couple things. So he could never cook less than 2 bags of pasta. I said, there's only 2 of us here. He would only eat leftovers for 1 day. He, when he was smoking, he would only smoke a half a pack, and then he would open a new pack. So he would always have half a pack of cigarettes left. He loved candy, Lifesavers. He would only eat half a pack, and then he would open a new pack. He loved candy, by the way. There was always candy in every drawer. He would go around every night and check the stove and the garage, and it was at least, he had to do that at least 10 times, a little bit. And he went through a entire thing of deodorant every week.
He always smelled good.
He always smelled good. Yes. And he always, yeah, and he had loved cologne. And he was a really good tennis player, but I stopped playing because he's way too competitive for me. And he was mean. And what else? There was one. It was really weird too. What was it? Darn it. I can't remember. Yeah, to wash the. Oh yeah, you have to wash 3 times. If you do it 4 times, then you have to do it at least 2 more times. Yeah, weird stuff. Oh.
Locked every door.
Yeah, just
Every night.
yeah, weird stuff.
It wasn't quite that.
It didn't come in the user manual. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much. Just a couple things. I have set up a laptop over here on the Sacramento Bee. We got the obituary in really late, but on there will be a legacy spot that will be open for an entire year, and then we're going to have it printed to keep. So the laptop is set up here so that if you want to sit down and put a memory in there, you can do that here today. It won't show up today. It won't show up probably till tomorrow. But if you want to do that, we would love to have you do that. Also, make sure everybody gets a door prize ticket. You just put your name on it and put it in the box. You don't have to keep by half of the ticket or anything, because we're going to start that immediately after we're done with our shares and start eating. The food thing. That's what I was going to say, the food thing. So we throw away tons and tons and tons of food. And so his goal was on New Year's Day, we never did it like Barbie did, but his goal was to make sure everybody left at least with a huge Ziploc bag full of food. So we've bought tons and tons, a whole case full of Ziplocs. So please do not leave with at least some of it, even if you're going to throw it away, because it'll be bad luck. And I will blame you. So please take something home with you, okay? Thank you very much for coming, and so I'm done. Love you all very much. Loved him, and I'm gonna just go on here.
Hello, everybody. I'll try to keep it short. I'm Russell's cousin, and we share the same birth year. And we were really close. We grew up together. They lived in Watsonville. We lived in Monterey, and we spent tons of time fishing and having fun. But one of the things that I remember, like Denny was saying, we used to sneak into places and go fishing. And I think we were about 10 years old. We went to a pond close by the house, and we caught so many bluegills that we couldn't carry them all. So we left like a trail of these things for miles. I forgot how long it was. I think we had a 5-gallon bucket, but we had more than that, and we left them. And I think we got caught. The people came from the place, and because they followed the bluegills all the way to the house. So, but we used to do a lot of stuff like that and had a lot of fun. And one of the things I wanted to share about Russell, is probably the thing that I remember most about Russell is, you know, the kind of heart he had. I can remember being small kids. I think we were 5 or 6 years old, walking up my parents' driveway. And I think we had gone to the store and to get something, and we didn't have enough money. And we were talking, and I was telling Russell, you know, when I grow up, I really want to have a lot of money so I can buy stuff. You know, have enough money for stuff. And Russell said, you know, what do you want? Russell said, you know, I just want to be happy and help people. And I think that was Russell right there in a nutshell. And he wanted to be happy, and you know, like Denny was saying, he always had a smile. He was just a good man, and there's not that many good human beings on this planet like he was. Just really special. And the other day, I'll wind it up. I was in the store and I saw a little banner hanging up, and I thought, wow, this really captured who Russell was. I mean, one of the things that I'm sure everybody in this room, Russell at some point said, "I love you." And a lot of people say that, but they don't mean it. Russell meant it. And I just thought, you know, there's something that Russell always did, is he always said he loved people. And he really, truly meant it. And we loved him. And so I found this little thing that was hanging up in the store, and I thought, wow, that's Russell. So I wanted to read this to you. And it says, those who live passionately teach us how to love. Those who love passionately teach us how to live. And thank you, Russell, for teaching me how to live. So, we love you, Russell.
My name's Earl Coleman. Russ was a friend of mine. You're probably thinking, oh my God, he's got 2 pages. I condensed it down from 10 pages, so it would take a lot to tell you about Russ. I first met Russ when he applied for a job at Trader Joe's in Fair Oaks. He walked into the store with a big, infectious smile. That smile was warm, friendly, and inviting gesture that got your attention. I wasn't involved in the interviewing process at the time, but I would have hired him on the spot. Every now and then there's a person that comes along that draws you in and makes you feel important. The person was Russ. As he moved through the ranks to become captain of Trader Joe's in Stockton, and then on to stores number 70 in Sacramento, he used his experience, his compassion, and soft hand on the shoulder to guide his team to accomplish the goals set before them. And I often thought, Russ probably runs the store like he plays a round of golf. He's always made sure that his crew had the best tools. After all, he had the best golf clubs. Have you ever seen his golf clubs? They were the best of the best. Just as he would plan his day at the store, Russ always knew the golf courses, all the details, layout, pitfalls of each one. He played the right club for each shot, and he made the right decision on running his store. Sometimes the events of the day did not go according to plan, and it required adjustments. The same is true while playing golf. Playing out of the rough requires a special club and a calm, cool attitude. Russ always displayed a calmness about him that showed his sense of confidence that always got him back on track. At all times in his job, Russ would treat his crew with respect. The same etiquette required in the sport of golf. He would make sure that everyone knew the rules and give each other the respect and encouragement to have fun at the job at hand. At the end of the day, I'm sure Russ would look back and say, it's being able to achieve your goals each day at work or in a round of golf, using the proper tools, adjusting to challenges that come along, and play the game with respect to your crew. Sometimes you can achieve something that few people get to experience, and that is a hole-in-one. Russ made a hole-in-one in our relationship as friends. I will miss his friendship and relationships, and will think of him each time I'm out playing golf.
I have 4 pages, but then again, it's for 5 people. My family isn't able to be here, my immediate family, so they asked me to read this for them. I have a few of them here. I'll try to read them quickly. I'm Russell's nephew. All right. First one. Russ was the definition of a true friend to me. He treated my sons and his family, pardon me, maybe I'll put on my glasses first. was going to say who it was again. So this the first one's from my father. Russ was the definition of a true friend to me. He treated my sons as his friends and was always mine as well. It can be said that he was always my brother, and I truly valued his love and friendship. I love you, Russ, and hope that someone will someday remember me as fondly as I remember you. That's from my dad, Roger Pfeiffer. This one's from my mother. No words can possibly express the love I feel for Russell. He was my brother-in-law, but oh, so much more in my heart. When he first came to Deborah's life, I had already left home and had a family of my own. I am 15 years older than Deborah, so we didn't grow up together. When she introduced Russ to me, I was blown away with his beautiful heart and what an adorable man he'd grown up to be. He showed his love for Deborah instantly, and I was so happy for them both. He also instantly bonded with my sons and became very important in their lives. As the years went by, I went through a divorce, and Russ stepped in and was not only their uncle, but their best friend. He was always there for them, and the love between them was very strong. He played with them, laughed with them, and helped me to keep it all together. Even though he may have not agreed with how I lived my life, he never made me wrong or tried to change me. He stayed the course and always supported me with unconditional love. I will miss him more than I can express in words. He had and always will have my unconditional love and respect for what a wonderful man he is. I just hope he knows how much he is missed and loved. I wish I could be there today to hold Courtney and Deborah in my arms and take away some of their grief, but I am there in spirit. There could be no greater man to celebrate than Russ. That was from my mom. This is from my younger brother, Ron. What amazed me most about Russell Fujita is that when he first started dating my Aunt Debbie, he selflessly reached out to Todd, Mark, and I. In hindsight, for him to take such an interest in his girlfriend's sister's kids was an amazing act of love and selflessness that had a huge positive impact in my and my brother's lives. A time that my parents had recently divorced, and I was really feeling a lot of fear and doubt about myself. Having Russ as a mentor, taking us fishing with him, playing basketball, playing tennis, playing Uno, Apaba, baseball, and hundreds of other fun things helped me to get through a painful part of my adolescence. I love him and miss him incredibly. Oh, and okay, Ron, thanks, Ron. And I'm sorry for almost getting him into a fight with an old dude because I was a little shit and was making fun of the man's wife as he was serving a ball in tennis. Russ, of course, handled the situation with grace, and the old guy poked Russ in the chest with his tennis racket. I'm sorry, Russ, please forgive me. I've shed many a tear over Russell's passing, but I know he is in peace now, and that gives me comfort. Ron Pfeiffer. The next one's from my older brother. As I sit here trying to come up with some words to express what Russ meant to me, it becomes very clear to me how words fail in communication of actual experience. For instance, you can't see or feel with words the tears that are streaming down my cheeks as I write this. But I will do my best to express what Russell meant to me in my life. At a time in my life when my parents got divorced, there's going to be a lot of this because, of course, it's similar for all of us. None of us got to read what anyone else wrote, so. At a time in my life when my parents got divorced and my father had moved out of the house, I felt lost, scared, lonely, and did not know who to turn to. I was in my early teens, which was pressure enough, but added to that, the fact that my father was no longer living in the house, and it just made the pressure and fear almost unbearable for me. Now you can call it coincidence or fate or divine intervention. I leave that up to you, but for whatever reason, the universe saw fit to send into my life the exact person that I needed. Russell became part of my family through marriage, but the connection I felt with him went far beyond that of uncle. If you are like me, from all the people that you meet in your life, very few of them connect with you on the very deepest of levels. For me, I can only think of 4 of them. My 2 brothers, my best friend, and my uncle. To try and express how much he meant to me, I need to come up with a new word. Russ was like my brub uncle. That word, that would be my brother, my bub, which was a term of endearment that we all called each other, and my uncle all rolled up into one. I grieved the passing of one of the only people on the planet who I could share my innermost feelings with and feel who I was understood by. I will miss the big wide grin he would get on his face when you got him laughing. He would make this noise like the cartoon Detective Doc Mumbley. And his entire diaphragm would heave, and if you really got him going, he just couldn't take it, and he would start to beg you to stop because he couldn't breathe anymore. I think that image best sums up how much Russ loved life and how wonderful it was to be near him. I just don't know very many people who enjoy life at such a deep level or who feel their emotions so deeply. And not only did he laugh very deeply, he loved very deeply as well. He loved my aunt so much that his love for her would just bubble out from inside him if he just started thinking of her. The last time I saw him was November of last year, and it was right on Deb's birthday. We went out together to buy her some gifts for her birthday, and the look of pure joy on his face that he had with just thinking about his wife and how much he loved her and how the gifts would make her feel was beyond words. Of course, that same love welled in his eyes when he talked about his daughter Courtney as well. He loved her so much that it hurt, and there was never any question that he loved me or my brothers as well. Russ made love obvious every chance he got. He was full of love, and he gave it freely. And since you are here today, I am sure you all understand this as well. So I wish I could be there with you, just to be in a room full of people who were thinking of him and sharing the extreme grief I feel. I love you all. And I can only say that because I learned to love from the master of love, my brub Uncle Russ. That was my brother Todd. Finally, mine. Luckily, it's short.
You changed?
Yeah. Brevity. Soul of wit, they said. I was a young boy going through a tough time in my life due to my parents' divorce. We all know this by now. And we were sent over to my Aunt Debbie's place for the evening to meet her new guy and hang out. We were met at the door by Debbie, and she invited us in. It was a small place, if memory serves. The walkway served as part of the kitchen and living room. I moved over to the kitchen table where various interesting items had been arranged there, and on it, spelled in what looked like silly putty, were the words, Fuji Bear. And of course, I had no idea what a Fuji Bear was, might be, or even looked like. Until he came out of the back room of the apartment and changed my life forever. I have too many stories to tell about my Uncle Russell, and it's hard to single out any one to tell because they're all so special in my heart. There's an old saying that comes from Eastern philosophical traditions, and it says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I'd like to modify that slightly here because in the case of my Uncle Russ, it was, when your life needs it the most, an angel appears. You were an angel when I needed it most. Russ, I love you and miss you. Now you're free to experience everything, and I will see you soon. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deborah's sister, Cindy. The first time I met Russell, he had a fro. You know, the afro? My sister brought him to the house. That was the night when she was trying to figure out if she was going to actually go on the date. And she said, what do you think of him? And I said, if you don't, I will. After that, it was platonic. I was 2 years younger than my sister, so I was the baby sister, and sometimes I was well taken care of. My father was dying at the time that Russ and Deb met. And my father was a bit of a conservative. We like to call him Archie Bunker. He had a big heart, and he loved a lot of people, but he was boisterous. And Russell knew that was a man he could love. And he would sit by my dad's bed while he was ill, and they would speak. And at the end of the last day he spent with him, my father asked Russell to marry his daughter. "Please join my family," he said. None of us could have been happier. I can't say enough about who he is and what he was on behalf of. Like, when Russ came around, people stepped up. They had to, or else, sometimes. I think basically, he was very inspiring, he was very real. You knew where he stood. He couldn't fake anything. That's what I loved best. We had some similarities, so sometimes we'd hit heads, but it was perfect because we'd ride it through and do something together. Russell was my father when my father died. I had a child before I was married, and that's Brooke. Russell stood by me. From a very conservative family, Russell stood by me. And he said it was okay not to marry. That took a lot for us as a family. And it was an incredible choice to have a man say, no matter what people say, no matter how conservative your family is, you're good. And she's perfect. He walked me up the aisle. When there was ever anything wrong, he was there. And that's not just true for me, obviously. It's all through our lives. I just want to make sure that you know how deeply I appreciate being part of this family and how inspired I am by the Fujita family, how deeply I love them. And I loved the cross culture. I thought it was incredible. It is incredibly beautiful. And it's what we stand for. And I just want to share one thing about Trader Joe's, by the way. We have been very fortunate by the gifts of Trader Joe's this week. Well, last night I went to the store at the very last minute. The doors had just closed, and they were screaming at me at the door, "We're closed!" and trying really hard to get out of the store. And I said, "I'm Russ's sister." That's all I could get out. It was Russ's sister. And they came to the door really fast. And they opened the doors and they said, "Well, we thought you were one of them." And I said, "Well, I just want to take a few pictures inside the store if I could." And they're all posing, you know, like, they're amazing. I took some videos of them. They're not up yet. Maybe they'll be on the website. Beautiful stories. And it was just like the topping. It was perfect. There wasn't a person there that couldn't tell a story about how Russell had touched their lives. And generally, everybody's perfect in their wholeness. But that doesn't mean they're always good, they're always nice. But he did a pretty good job. And I just am really grateful to be in your family, and I love you, Deborah. And I'm here for you.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm Russ's daughter. What I remember, or what I will always remember about my dad, is that he was the best storyteller. You could have the worst day and call him and he'd tell you really great stories. Usually something about how he changed someone else's life. And he was definitely not just my dad. I think he was a dad to a lot of people in this room. He would tell me how, what he would do with my dogs. He'd just call and tell me, like weird. Ella was hiding in the blanket, and it wasn't even that interesting, but it was like, he wanted to be able to relate, and he knew that I would listen to him when he was talking about the dogs. Instead of just going, Some of my favorite things that we did together was golf and fish. I was yelled at a lot, but I'm not very good at following instructions, as most people know, or following anything. But I want to thank you all for being here. Thanks for being here for my dad. It really shows how much he was appreciated, and he never boasted about all of his friendships. And this is pretty incredible that you guys are all here. So thank you. I'm Sylvia. I'm the adopted sister, and my daughter is the adopted niece. And oh, sorry. And I just want to say how grateful I am to be a part of the family and to have known Russell, who I adore. He was so wonderful to my daughter and I. And the storytelling, it's what I remember the most. He was such an amazing storyteller. He would have us all rolling with laughter or crying, depending on the story. Yes, and he did love his wife and his daughter passionately, and his dogs. He did love his dogs, and I will miss him.
You sheltered me from harm, kept me warm, kept me warm. You gave my life to me, set me free, set me free. The finest years I ever knew, I had with you, and I would give anything I own, give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again. You taught me what it's all. You never said too much, but still you showed the way, and I knew from watching you. Nobody else could ever know the part of me that can't let go. Is there someone you know, you're loving them so, but taking them all for granted? just to touch you once again.